I don't know about you, but I'm getting mad anxiety with all the inconsistency in our school schedules. Is it virtual? Is it not? Will there be a mute button? Every day feels like a new obstacle as we figure out when and who should go to school. Learn how this school is keeping it consistent for all of their learners, regardless if they're in school or online. You know what I'm going to look forward to when this school year is over? Some consistency. I feel like you have to be on your toes for everything in 2020. Like if 2020 was a food, it would be the McRib, because you never know when it's coming back. The economy, the Rona, in-person school. I sat down with Geoffrey Roehm, founder and executive director of Launch Expeditionary Learning Charter School in Brooklyn, New York, who decided that this year he's going to attempt to offer some consistency to his teachers, parents, and students. None of this hybrid, on and off, virtual, back in person, half the school goes this day, the other half goes this day, then hey, let's switch every Friday. He said, no. Let's try something called distance teaching. Distance teaching involves keeping teachers home and teaching remotely while opening up the school building as a learning center so parents who need to get back to work can do so while their children can have access to reliable internet, a dedicated workstation, and free meals. Launch is a 9-year-old middle school servicing 300 6th through 8th graders.
My name is Geoffrey Roehm. I'm the founder and executive director at Launch Expeditionary Learning Charter School. We were on a path, like almost every other school in New York, to create a hybrid model. We created kind of the whole state application we were required to do, and we stopped and we said, hey, we really stepping back to think about what is best for our school and our community. And then we came up with this model, distance teaching, that was really based on some ideas that our board chair had thought about, and then we kind of shared out and disseminated. You know, all of our teachers are teaching from home, and so teaching remotely, full day, live, synchronous lessons, which includes sort of like 3 hours of actual classes that they're doing, kind of traditional hour-long classes. And then also kind of small group time in the afternoon. Teachers are at home and doing that, but then all families have the opportunity to be able to send their kids into the building to be in small group pods where they log on, at sort of a personal learning station onto the computer and are able to access those live classes throughout the day. They're supervised by what we call pod leaders, who are mostly made up of our after-school staff and some other partner staff that really know our kids super well. I get to be here right now and be in it, where kids get to be really supported, where, if parents need to go to work, if parents, for whatever reasons, aren't able to support kids at home. As the father of 3 young boys, I totally feel that. It's really, really hard. If there are issues with internet or devices, if there are issues with being able to provide meals, which we have, right? We've got a space where all of that can be taken care of and kids can be supported in doing that online learning.
This is a win-win for both students and teachers. Students no longer have to juggle learning in 3 different models: online synchronous, online asynchronous, and in person. Students can now also get consistent broadband and device access if they were unable to attain that from their home environment. They get consistent interactions with pods of peers who are also on campus. Teachers can have some consistency when it comes to their safety and developing their classrooms for the school year. Teachers are now able to become experts in remote instruction instead of splitting time between in-person and remote. The Launch staff, together with their parent reopening committee, worked tirelessly over the summer to develop this plan, which started with several options before settling on distance teaching. The school commitment to distance teaching was a proactive decision, just in case they were forced to shut down the physical building again due to a second COVID-19 wave. Launch is continuing to improve their single sign-on platform that allows students and families to navigate online space that mimics their school's look and feel. Students can click into classrooms, small groups, there's a main lobby, an auditorium, and the principal's office, among other spaces.
We're gonna have these phases of shutting down, opening up, shutting down, opening up, I think until we have a vaccine. And so if online teaching is going to be a critical part of any model that you have, you better be able to get really, really good at it. And trying to split time Sorry, the lights go out in here if you don't move around. Trying to split time as a teacher or as a student in between different models of teaching and learning. I got to plan my in-person lesson. I got to plan my remote lesson. And by the way, I'm not very good at remote as a teacher just because I haven't had the experience. It waters down the quality of all of that stuff, right? Not to mention that if you're doing in person, if somebody all of a sudden gets sick, even if it's a sniffle or a cold as we head into flu season, they're going to be out for at least a week. They got to get tested. They got to go through the whole protocol, right? So if we're able to focus on getting great online, getting really, really great, we felt like that gets at the essential, thing that all schools should be doing, which is supplying the highest quality possible education to kids. How do we supply the highest quality possible education?
About 1/3 of the 285 families in the launch community, which has been disproportionately hit by the coronavirus, opted to send their children into the building. Meanwhile, 75% of the entire population have elected to send their children to weekly in-person meetings held outdoors, focused on social and emotional learning, physical education, and fun.
Every week, there are more and more families opting fully remote. That's across the whole city. My feeling is that people have started to get into the routine of the thing that they're engaged in. And I think that's good. I have felt that personally with my kids starting to get into a routine in their own model in their schools that they're in. I wouldn't expect necessarily big shifts in our numbers in the short term. I think the thing that's going to be the change catalyst is going to be the external environment, our numbers going up in any particular community, and how prepared are you as a school community to deal with that? If we have to shut down, or if we can open up even further and have more kids come in, the teaching and learning and the model stays the same. Like there's that consistency for kids in terms of the daily interactions and teaching and learning with their teachers.
It took just 5 days for administrators at New Trier High School to halt their new COVID-19 hybrid plan and send students back to their homes for remote learning, as COVID-19 cases in suburban Chicago and in the state reported some of the highest numbers of new cases since May. This could become more common in the U.S., as on Friday, we hit the highest daily numbers of coronavirus cases since the pandemic began. According to the Washington Post, we nearly hit 83,000 new infections, surpassing the previous record set during the summertime surge. If more schools shut down, distance teaching seems like a great model to stabilize our messaging for the remainder of the year. I asked Mr. Roehm, does this mean his teachers can live anywhere? And he said, we're not keeping tabs on their location, which I find fascinating. I know the negative of distance teaching is that teachers are missing the in-person connection with their students, but on the other hand, being able to have control of your schedule and location is pretty remarkable. How powerful is it that teachers might have the ability to be there for an ill family member a few states away, while at the same time still doing the work that they love? There are many other schools across the country committing to consistency by staying 100% virtual through the entire school year. However, what I enjoy about this model is that it solves the political battle between parents wanting schools to remain open and teachers who want to be safe. Distance teaching seems like a true bipartisan solution. I'm unsure of the distance teaching model's potential once we go back to school in full capacity, but I do love that it makes us focus on investing in our craft as facilitators of virtual experiences. I think this is an incredible idea during these hard times, and I would love to know your thoughts. Thank you for watching this week of education, and if you want to continue to receive this weekly, make sure you subscribe. Also, to check out Mr. Roehm's entire interview, go to any podcast platform and just type in This Week in Education. Looking forward to seeing you on the next episode.